So today I'm gonna be looking at these two bottles from Bardstown. One is a bourbon, the other is a rye. Uh, I wanted to put them together because they're both finished in rum barrels. So this one here was finished this one here is a bourbon, was finished in Plantation rum barrels, right? So Plantation is a famous rum brand from, I believe, Jamaica. Um, I actually have a bottle of Plantation rum, the um, 20th anniversary edition, that I'll probably be including in a video soon, maybe, setting it against another rum. And so I got that bottle in particular because it had received a high score in Fred Minnick's book about rum, right, in which he just rates and scores like hundreds of rums. So, and that one was very well, I guess, or very highly rated, or came very highly rated by him. So I got it. Very good. And and here what you have is like a collaboration between Bardstown and Plantation. Um, so this is, it says, like, and again, like, Bardstown is notorious for being very transparent about how old the whiskey is that goes in the bottle and where it comes from, etc. So it says here that this is like 10-year-old Tennessee bourbon, finished for 22 months in Plantation Jamaican rum barrel. So yeah, it doesn't tell you, this bottle in particular doesn't tell you if there's other whiskey in the mix, right? Like with the percentages that, compared to, for example, to this bottle here, in which you have the percentage of each whiskey that was used in the blend, right? So here you have, or this is their collaboration with Foursquare, which is another um, brand of rum, very like well regarded, from Barbados. And here you do get a breakdown of you know how much whiskey from each provenance, I guess, from different, from each different provenance was used in the mix. So here you it says that 90% of the blend is a 7-year rye from Indiana, right? So 51% rye, 45% corn. So 90% of the blend is a rye, is rye. The other 10% is 17-year-old bourbon from Tennessee, and again, like, finished in Foursquare um, rum barrels. I also have a bottle of Foursquare back home, which I will probably be also talking about in a video. All right, so let's see what we have here. It's for the Plantation collab, and the Foursquare. I actually did not know. I just noticed it. I mean, as you can see, I've been drinking this for a while, but I had not noticed it was a rye, which was an interesting surprise. So let's see. See here. So this is the Plantation. very sweet, as as you would expect from something finished in a barrel that was used to make to age a sugar-based distillate, right? Very sweet. So let's see, the plantation. You do get a like very faint, very light fragrance of you know the sea, beach. It does remind you of being in a location like that. So these are, of course, you would expect them to be like drinks that would work well in the summer, at least for me. You do get like some spice as well, some cinnamon maybe. Yeah, the honey molasses note is very prevalent. So let's see. Let's say that the briny seawater note is there, but very faint, very muted, just a little bit. Uh, I said cinnamon. And I'm going into this with the preconception that I prefer the Foursquare. Let's see if that's the case or not. This is very like again like very very sweet, and a sweetness that reminds me, and it's a sweetness that reminds me of, let's say, like candy, like gummies, but candy, but not hard candy, like soft candy. I like you're like a bag full of like different kinds of or assorted gummies, right? So it's a very artificial sort of sweetness. It's a very nice bouquet of aromas. All right, so that's what I'm getting over here. The Foursquare. It's more herbal, more. The sweetness is not maybe as artificial, not as prevalent as in the other one. So more herbal, deeper. So it feels like a boulder, which I don't know if that's fair or not, but maybe because Foursquare rums, I believe, are normally um, they go in the barrel. No, I mean that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I was gonna say that forget what I was gonna say. They are bottled at cask strength. So you like in my mind, the Foursquare rum is thicker, denser, more viscous, and that's maybe the texture that I'm getting here on the nose. At least it feels like a that you're gonna be dealing with a more viscous sort of. whiskey, but is that a fair thing to say? Given that these were just aged in, but maybe they go in the barrel at a higher ABV. Maybe, I mean, maybe that's why you would think of a that's why it would be fair to say that this is a more viscous sort of drink. That doesn't make any sense. Just disregard whatever I said. But yeah, the association makes sense, right? Like Foursquare tends to be more viscous. Like the ABV is slightly higher here, but it feels right, like the alcohol feels more prevalent. Like you get maybe like a licorice note over here, so, to stick to the gummy comparison. Licorice, so it feels richer. uh I don't know which nose I like the best. um yeah, definitely, like, you get the dill note from the rye that I now know is from it being 90% rye. It goes really well with the sweetness of the rum and the bourbon, right? So it feels like a more complex, like I said, richer sort of experience because of the blend, I think, right? So the blend feels more interesting maybe than the force than the plantation, because the plantation feels like just more clear cut, to the point. It's sweet. It has other things going on, but it just feels maybe more like one note. So I do prefer the Foursquare on the nose. So let's say, but again, like, is it is are we talking about like something? Because the problem of having reviewed, like, on the channel, things like the Russell 15, George D. Stagg, Peppy 15, etc., is that we're dealing with a really, really good stuff. We've been dealing with really, really good stuff so far. Now, do these like stack up? Do these really, are these really comparable? Are they in the same league? I don't think so, right? But they're also very good, right? So let's say that, if let's I just reviewed Knob Creek 18, Calumet 16 yesterday. uh I gave the Calumet a 90 on the nose, an 85 to the Knob Creek. Are these as interesting? Let's say, like I do think that the Foursquare, for example, offers a very unique, interesting experience, and in terms of what you're getting on the nose. So yeah, no, on the nose, we're definitely dealing with something that's, if not as good as, a Pappy would, what, which is clearly not. Like, I gave a Pappy a 95, and Pappy, we're dealing with, a straight bourbon whiskey, a weeded whiskey, but it's not finished. It's not a blend, but and still a 95. So this is the Foursquare is very good. Is it as good as the Calumet? Uh, no, I don't think so. I think that would be unfair, given that you're getting what you're getting here is a mix of things. But that also seems unfair. Right? To be sort of saying that they're two different things just because one is a blend and the other one isn't. That they're like incomparable in terms of quality. So I'll still give it a very good score on the nose. Not a 90 like I did with the Calumet, but let's say an 87 on the nose. And let's say the Plantation is an 80. All right, so the palate now. A little bitter, which I didn't expect. So yeah, it's sweet, but the maybe the saltiness that was there, right? I said, briny on the nose. The more aggressive note that I was picking up on the nose is more prevalent here, or is it just first sip of itis? We'll see. Yeah, because this is very delicate. Like, sure, there's the rum note, right? So the briny sugar molasses is there, but how does it translate to the palate? Yeah, it does become like, yeah, salty. Salt's like, yeah, like the saltiness is more prevalent than it overpowers the sweetness. Maybe it should be. I think it should be more harmonious. I would like it more if it were more harmonious, like the balance between the sweetness and the savoriness here. It's not even savory. Like savory, I don't think describes what fully describes what I'm capturing here, right? Like I do feel that this is like a little bit on the like abrasive side, right? Yeah, it takes away from the sweetness that I was getting on the palate. So I don't know. Let's see the Foursquare. I didn't remember getting this experience before. Let's see the Foursquare on the palate. Oh yeah, yeah. It's a lot more elegant, delicate, complex than the Plantation. Finish is not gonna be like super long, or it's not gonna be super. I'm not gonna grade it super well, right? Like super high on the finish. They're both, I mean, lowish ABV, lowish proof, but and I mean not but and yeah, the finish is not super great, but so here I'm also getting some abrasion, but I think that it's coming not from the rum, but from the rye, right? So the sweetness, again, like, is a bit overpowered by the flavors that are more on the bitter end of the spectrum, I think. Might be the oak too. I feel like I like this a lot more, right? You certainly get the rye, you get the molasses, the sugar, the brown sugar from the rum. It is thicker, right? Like as I was saying before, it is more viscous. The finish is not great, I don't think. And the sweetness does come back on the finish, like towards the end of like the experience, right? Like, it's still there, right? Like it's lingering at the back of my palate, and it is like sweet, right? The finish is sweet, right? Even though you get some bitterness, some oak, maybe some of the rye spice, the grassiness, the dill, the abrasion, right? As I said, right? It's a bit more aggressive. Uh, so I do prefer. I think I do prefer the Foursquare on the palate. All right, let's try to wrap it up before it gets to. As you can see, I'm not editing these videos because I don't have the time or the inclination, I guess. But let's try to wrap it up soon. Yeah, yeah. Not a fan. Not a fan of this. Like, at least when drunk together, which is not something I've done before, but at least like when you're comparing them, the plantation does lose a lot on the palate. So palate, I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna say 65 for the plantation. Now, Foursquare. Yeah, this nose is just next level stuff, man. At least again compared to the other one. There's just more going on in this whiskey. I mean, because of again, like I said, like the blend is what it is, right? It's just old whiskey, relatively old rye, right? So because it's 7 year, right? So 7 year rye, relatively old, right? As well. And the rum itself might be more noticeable, more flavorful, more prominent. It's still not blowing me away, right? Like the palate on this thing, if the other one is a 65, this one is maybe a let's say a 70, 73, not a 75. I don't think that would be too high. Finish, I think the Foursquare takes it too. Finish on the Foursquare is actually pretty long, and it's the flavor just remains for a while. So let's let's give the plantation another chance in any case. No, yeah, goes away a lot faster, and the aftertaste is more on the bitter side of things. So again, not my favorite. Gonna give it a 55. And the finish on the the Foursquare, I'm gonna say it's pretty good, right? So it's at least an 80. What did I say yesterday? 85. The Knob Creek was an 85. Yeah, I feel that an 80 is fair. So final score. I was just looking back at the grades that I've given, like, since I started doing this, and so I gave the Foursquare a flat 80, right? So Foursquare ended with a flat 80, which is higher than the Pappy 15. So I don't think that's fair at all. I think the Pappy 15 is indeed better than this whiskey. So yeah, I might go back at some point and revisit the this review, but because I did drink the Pepper 15 like later, and I did like it more than when I was reviewing it. So I gave it a 70 on the palate. I think that was maybe too low. So at some point I might revisit this. But anyway, so the conclusion here, right, is that the Foursquare is way, way, way better than the Plantation, right? The rum, it's like, again, the Plantation rum that I have, the 20th anniversary edition, it's very good. Very good, very complex, very thick. This is not really doing it for me. Like, when drunk by itself, as I said, it's very good. Here, it's not really working today for some reason. So the Foursquare takes it with an 80. Plantation gets a 67 in total. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys.